Welcome to Coastal Conversation, episode 24. Thank you for tuning in today. As always, we remember Colossians 4:6 that reminds us to let our conversations be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that we may know how to answer everyone. Well, our guest today is really no stranger to our Coastal Church family. Pastor Steve Burton is our pastor of the Minette campus for Coastal Church. He and his wife, Andrea, they have 3 adult children and 2 of the cutest grandbabies you ever did see. So help me welcome today to our Coastal Conversations podcast, Pastor Steve Burton. Hi, Pastor Steve.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
When we were writing your bio right before this, you have to mention the grandbabies because really they're real cute.
Yep.
Now, I haven't been around your grandson that much, but Sophia, your granddaughter, she's really, really smart.
Yes, that is her mother, her teacher mother.
Yeah.
That has raised her up early.
She is so smart. And she's for a little toddler, she's very articulate. She can speak in full sentences. Like, she's amazing. And she's really cute. So if anybody hasn't met Sophie, they need to meet her.
Yes, she's a cutie.
She's so cute. Well, welcome to the podcast. I haven't had you on yet, and I wanted to bring you on because, a lot of people may not know that we have a Bay Minette campus, right there in Bay Minette, in the heart of Bay Minette. It's a great location, right when you're coming in. It's right there on the right-hand side next to, what is it? The shrimp,
basket.
Shrimp basket. I almost said shrimp factory. The shrimp basket. But yeah, so it's really easily found and located. So I hope that by people that maybe attend this campus, but know people that live near the Bay Minette area, that they'll invite their friends and invite their coworkers to join us at our Bay Minette campus. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and I want people to get to know you a little bit. So how long have you been in full-time ministry, Pastor Steve?
I have been in full-time ministry 28 years.
Wow.
20 years in full-time student ministry, and then just over 8 years with Coastal.
Yeah. How did that get started for you? Like, when did you hear that call of God to go into ministry? How did that all begin?
Oh, wow. I got radically saved from a lifestyle, just search, look, try to fill your life with things you thought would make you happy, and really got to the place where I reached the end of that road. And,
yeah.
A friend of mine who was actually a drinking buddy of mine gave his life to Jesus, and I watched the impact that it made on him and how it changed him. And he had what I had been looking for in all these other things. So he invited me to church, and it was just a radical life change for me. It's like everything I had looked for in other things, I found that moment in that invitation to follow Jesus, and just wept a lot of tears and life altering. And I'm thinking, how come nobody is telling all of my friends this amazing news that they're doing the same thing I was doing?
Wow.
They're looking at all these things. They just don't know it's Jesus. So when that happened to me, that's all I ever wanted to do. Somebody has got to tell my friends about Jesus, because this is what they're looking for. They're just doing it in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely understand that. I do. And so in that, I began my pursuit of being in this place where I could share this with other people.
That's awesome. That's a great testimony. And then so 28 years in full-time ministry, 20 in student ministry. We met you back in the day when we were all youth pastors. They called it back then. They call it students now, or student ministry now. Back in the day, it was called youth ministry. We were all youth pastors, and Pastor Chad, you knew Pastor Chad knew you, and back in the 180 days. What was your youth group called? Everybody had to name their youth group. Ours was 180. What was your youth group name?
Revolution.
Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good, because people got a little bit crazy with the youth group names, right?
That was us. We did that too.
Oh, some people went through it. I remember even me growing up, I was like, that one's a little weird.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been, again, on the Coastal Church pastoral team here?
Believe it or not, since 2015, we started with a phone call from Pastor Chad, where he asked me, what do you think about starting a church in Bay Minette?
Yeah.
And I had already fallen in love with Bay Minette. I love the rural community. I love the relationships and all that comes with that. So it was a really easy decision for me to say, yeah, what do you want to do? He said, let's start a Bible study and see if God's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, let's do it. So in our house, we started a Bible study that is
right.
now Coastal Church in Bay Minette.
Yeah. How many people do you remember specifically about how many people came to that first Bible study at your house?
40.
Wow.
We had 40 people at our house.
In your house. You just crammed them in there, which, you know what? That goes to say you already had a presence and a connection in that community. It wasn't like you just dropped in. You had already been doing the work of tilling the ground and planting seeds and serving people and then inviting them to your house for a Bible study to start with 40. That's amazing. And then today, last Sunday, I mean, let's just say last Sunday, was it a low Sunday or a high Sunday? What have we hit at Bay Minette?
Very high Sunday for us, 368 people on Sunday morning, excluding the student service that was that evening. So
wow.
Just phenomenal what's going on. It really is.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, our Bay Minette campus meets on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Now, many times when it's a campus of a main church, or some people call it like a broadcast campus or a main campus, we really don't like to use a lot of those terms because we have a live pastor, which is you, at our Bay Minette campus, and you actually preach every Sunday morning. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, and the difference that gives that campus as opposed to being a satellite. Now, this last Sunday, we did stream Pastor Chad over. So on special occasions, every now and then, just so that we keep that connection, we do stream Pastor Chad over. But that's rare. That's just every now and then we do that. How does that make a difference when there's a live pastor there preaching every Sunday?
Well, I think what we see it does is it gives that campus its own unique personality.
Wow.
Which is okay. Although we're one church, you can be Bay Minette, uniquely your personality. So it gives them the freedom to be that, and they feel ownership in that, which is so important. And we want them to have that. So it creates that for them. And plus it gives them an opportunity for a personal relationship with the leadership, which I think everybody wants. Everybody wants more so than just having good teaching and those things over a screen. They want to have that personal connection where there's a relationship there. So yeah. I think it creates that, and it gives it to those to people in those communities what they really desire, and that's that relationship that is so much more than just having more information.
And you and Andrea do that so well. You're in the community, you're in the lobby, you're meeting people, you're visiting people, you're praying for the sick. They have a pastor they can call and they can turn to. And like you said, it's not just somebody on the screen that can maybe preach really good. And you know, for some churches that works really well. But we have found, especially in a rural community like Bay Minette, that pastor in the lobby, that pastor on the stage really, really does help make that connection. And like you said, makes that campus own that church. Like, this is my church. It's not just a place I attend. This is my community.
Right.
So many people are coming to know Jesus. We are just astonished every week to get you guys' numbers in. And the campus is growing. Tell us a testimony or two about what God is doing and what you're seeing God do at the Bay Minette campus on Sunday mornings.
Well, as much as we get excited about how many people show up on a Sunday morning, I think for me, it's watching people progress in their relationship with God. The more they get more involved and more committed to their own personal growth or their own involvement, or even their own ownership of the ministry of the campus, that's the real exciting part. And just watching, whether it's an individual or a family, get more involved, I mean, I don't know how more encouraging you can be. So watching like new families come and not just sit in a service, but ask how they can get involved in ministry. What can I do? How can I contribute to what God is doing here? Like Justin and Brandy Byrne, they're brand new.
Okay.
We have reached out to them several times about coming, and they'd had some church background, but hadn't been involved in a long time. The first time they walked through the doors, Justin came up to me and said, I had no idea that this church existed in Bay Minette.
Wow.
And they have been not only faithful to be there every Sunday, but involved in multiple small groups in the marriage small group and the men's small group and the student ministry, serving and food there in that ministry. So just to watch them continue to be hungry for greater things and more things in their lives where they can be involved and be a part of that, it's just exciting to watch what God's doing in their lives, in their family's life, how it impacts their children. It's just huge. And also Mr. Terry Hadley, who has just taken ownership of the parking lot ministry.
And let me just say, your parking lot, because that's important. What people don't realize is that everything on a Sunday morning matters. From the minute somebody pulls into the parking lot to the minute they give their heart to Jesus. Pastor Chad likes to call it a funnel. Everything we do is a funnel to the altar, to that decision at the end for them to make Jesus the Lord and Savior of their lives. And we don't want anything to distract them from that final decision. And we are running out of space in the parking lot at Bay Minette. So tell us about this, because this interests me, because that's a huge ministry that people don't realize is important.
Yeah, I think it's that is the organized chaos of our Sunday morning.
Yes.
Is trying to get everyone parked in some orderly fashion. And it is to the place where we're having to put them on the outskirts of the parking lot so that the people that are coming in right at service time are having an ability to pull up next to the building, which is mostly our new people and new families that are coming in. So Terry Hadley has just taken that as his own personal passion
I love that.
to make a difference in how our church feels coming in the doors. And that's so important because they say statistically that the first 12 minutes people decide whether they're going to come back or not and how you made them feel. So his passion for it is, it's exciting to me to have him come in and go tell me how he parked people on Sunday mornings and how he's getting people that are coming in late up closer to the building where they don't drive away. So parking people in the back and parking people in the parking lot next door to us and just trying everything he can and getting teams together to make sure it's organized and orderly in and out so we don't have any incidents. So he is just excited about it. And it inspires me to see somebody not just, to have a task to do at a church, but it's like they have ownership of it. And there's some excitement in it, and them doing that, which brings it to me too. It makes me just want to do a better job at what I do.
Wow.
So it's kind of the pulling on me to do better. How can I serve more? How can I do and have that same passion that Terry has?
Yeah. He's seeing it more than, like you said, just a task. He's seeing it as a ministry. And it is important that those people coming in, especially first-time guests, be able to have easy access to our building. Sometimes we don't think about that, but that is an important aspect in helping them feel comfortable on a Sunday morning. And for him to own that and to take ownership of that is just, I love seeing that. And I love hearing about that. In heaven, all those salvations will be credited to him as well. He made it easy for people to come to church and for us to open the doors. It just makes me want to cry. Because every time I go to the Bay Minette campus, I come away and I'm like, it is the sweetest people at that campus. When you walk in the doors, you can talk about this a little bit. You just feel love. You feel accepted. You feel, tell us a little bit about that feeling that you get there at the Bay Minette campus.
Well, we feel like that's a really important element to have. When you walk through the doors, you already have an awkwardness about being in a place where you don't know anybody or know the format of how things work there. So we want to make it as comfortable as possible and remove that awkwardness and hope that you feel like family when you walk in the door, that you're appreciated and loved, and how can we serve you, and just create a place where you're comfortable. So our people have so adopted that idea or even brought it with them that you just hear it a lot, that people say, I felt so welcomed here. And that is so important when you're in a place for the first time.
Yeah.
Especially if you've had a bad experience in a church where, you haven't felt that. It really goes over the top with people. And I think it makes them more want to engage and be involved in what's going on, or even find out what's next for me. So, it's precious.
It really is. Because for so long, I think the Bay Minette community, churches in the Bay Minette community, whether it was right or wrong or true or not true, had a stigma of being very religious. And we don't, we didn't go to those churches. We don't know, but you hear that sometimes in those smaller rural communities. Oh, it's really just religious. And people judge me when I walk in the doors and blah, blah, blah. And so you kind of, I think people are on edge a little bit when they walk in the doors and they expect that experience, maybe because they did experience it at another church, or they've just heard that that's what church is like. But then they walk in the doors at the Bay Minette campus. I'm just telling you, it is a different feel. You feel the love, you feel the kindness, you feel the acceptance. And I think that is a testament to you and Andrea creating that atmosphere there, and how much those people love their church and want everyone to love their church. Okay. Tell us about the student ministry, because I'm going to tell you, Coastal students, not only here on the Daphne campus, which we're going to have Pastor Colleen back soon, because it is in our student ministry across the board, Daphne and Bay Minette, it's like a mini revival. And Pastor Colleen told me that she's like, oh, it's not mini, it's for real. It is the real thing. There is a revival happening amongst our student ministry. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are experiencing. Pastor Austin on the Bay, and it's hard for me to get him on the podcast because he works a side full-time job, but what are you guys seeing in Bay Minette among the students? What is God doing?
It is, I try to think about how do you pin this down to a small description, but I guess it's a hunger for some truth in a culture, that's just adrift in what's real anymore, because you see students from all different backgrounds and family lifestyles, and they're just coming because they're looking for something authentic.
Yeah.
And I think what Pastor Austin is really modeling from them, I'll take you where you are. I'll accept you for what's going on in your life. You're okay here. This is a safe place. And he's very, very real with them. He's down on their level and speaks their language, and he is introducing them to this relationship with Jesus that is so much more than organized religion or just trying to be good. It's a real authentic relationship with God. And when they find that out, it is amazing what God is doing in this culture. And in Bay Minette, it spreads like a wildfire in our community to other students that are searching too. So,
and he's involved in the high school there, even with a full-time job. He's bivocational as a pastor, a youth pastor, and working his real full-time job, his other full-time job. But he is still involved at the high school. He's a chaplain for the football team and teaches them and speaks to them. And he's involved in their lives, and he goes to their games, and he and his wife show up to things, and that's important. And it's paying off on a Sunday night when they all gather. So I would encourage anybody that's listening that's involved in the Bay Minette campus, if you want a place to plug in and help, man, they can use help on Sunday nights, taking trash out, feeding kids, praying for students, like all of those things, because it is like a little mini revival happening out there among the students.
Yeah, the dynamics of everything that goes on and goes into it to create this atmosphere and create this family. It takes a lot of people to pull it off successfully and make kids like they're connected to a bigger thing than just an event that we do. Yeah. It's a family that we are, and you're a part of that from day one. And I think they feel that, and they want to be in the middle of that. And they hear that a lot. And I hear them say, they love each other. And I watch a place which is unusual in culture, where there's no cliques. They genuinely cheerlead for each other, no matter what segment of life they're in or come from. It makes me want to stand in the back and just watch what's going on, just in amazement of what Pastor Austin has created and what they do week in and week out with full-time schedules.
Yeah. Well, switching subjects a little bit, Coastal Groups started this week on Sunday. We kicked off groups, and when Meredith, your campus coordinator, was showing me all the groups you guys had, man, you've got some great groups going on at the Bay Minette campus. I mean, a lot of new groups, a lot of new leaders have stepped up, and it's really exciting to see. What are some groups that you are excited about on your campus this semester?
I have a genuine burden for the family.
Okay.
I really want to see growth in parents, because I think we can save our children a lot of pain and a lot of struggle and a lot of identity crisis and who am I, where am I going, if we just get the moms and dads growing spiritually.
Mm.
So my heart is for the men's groups and the women's groups and the places where your mom and dad can grow up and grow spiritually, because I think that is such an impact to the family. And I think it's a need in our culture is for mom and dad to be growing spiritually. Something I talked to a dad about this week who had a meeting with me. I said, I think the best thing I can give to your kids is a mom and dad that's growing spiritually. It's the best thing we can give, because how that impacts your children is far and beyond the Bible study that you're in. It's going to sculpt their lives and the lives of their children as they come along. So I love the men's group I was in this week, and just sitting down and just listening to the dads growing in their faith and asking questions and learning and praying. Listen to dads pray. And that gets
What
my
group
heart.
is that? What when do y'all meet?
We meet
the
on
men's
Sunday
group?
nights. And it is just really a book study that we're doing. We're going through together and reading together. Some of the dads are in the Warrior's Way here on the Daphne campus, and just a hunger there to be a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
So which encourages me to no end. There was a dad that came this week, and that I knew his 13-year-old daughter had been praying for him to give his life to Jesus. Who came with her grandmother for a very long time, and then seeing her dad in the men's group this week, and listening to him talk about Jesus and his relationship with Jesus and his Bible time, and he prayed at the end of the men's meeting, and I just went, wow, this is what this is all about: is seeing this dad who was nowhere in his relationship with God come in through his daughter's prayer from student ministry and become an active part of seeking Jesus for himself, to the place where he went, I'm going to see if I can move my job from off the road to where I can be home with my family more.
Wow.
And he's watched God open some doors for him, which has been super exciting. And just to watch what's going on in his life. I mean, that for me, it's the payoff for everything that you do, is watching parents. And the women's have a similar group. They're doing the exact same thing, raising up godly moms and wives to see what God has for them, what they're supposed to be, not just act like you've got it all together, but and you're working on those things in your life where you can be a better mom and a better wife and a better dad, a better husband, and watch how it impacts our kids.
Yeah. Well, before we started recording, you were telling me about a great group that you guys do every year. And this is more like a serve group that we have on the campus at Bay Minette. It is the Friday Night Lights concession stand group that serves at the Bay Minette High School football games. How long have y'all been doing that?
This is our 4th year to be involved.
4th year. And you guys not only own the concession stand, you do tickets, right?
We do everything for it. They don't have to do anything but cook the hamburgers and hot dogs. That's everything else we do from the window. Everything we organize behind the scenes. There's 24 people that are involved in it this year. They make it go, and it has been successful. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to be a part of. It is really fun. I mean, it is chaotic, and so many people, and serving our community and letting our community see us, being visible for our community. It's so important that we're there to serve them, bless them, encourage them, build those relationships, that we want them to know us. So it has been an honor to be a part of that and serve our community that way.
That's so awesome. 4 years running, we own the concession stand ministry at the Bay Minette football games. And you know what? I was telling you even before we started recording, that helps parents that have kids playing to be able to sit in the stands and not have to serve in a concession stand, be able to watch their kids play. That really is a service and just a little love note to our community. No, we got this. You enjoy your Friday night. Let us serve you.
Yeah, and that's important to us to do that. We want them to know we're here to serve you. And, it's band parents thing where they can sit and actually watch their children and not be inside the concession stand at that time. So, and we hope that we can do that and make that known. We're here just to do what we can do to bless you, bless your family, and make sure man, you're loved.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, thanks for being here today. I have one fun last question, which you were struggling with, but you know what? I have to ask. What is one thing that needs to be on our radar? It can be a food, a restaurant, a book, a podcast. What's one of your favorite things that we should be listening to or thinking about or doing? What should be on our radar?
Well, I thought about this one and I thought about so many things, but I'm thinking fun last thing. What is a fun last thing?
You know what I was going to ask? You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say CrossFit.
Well, that is a love-hate relationship for me.
But you are like the CrossFit of CrossFitters.
Well,
CrossFitter of CrossFits. That should have.
If I do anything, I want 110%. That is me. So whether it's CrossFit or doing church ministry, I want to go all in. I do.
Why do you love CrossFit though? I mean, why CrossFit? There's so many other things, Pastor Steve, except that are not miserable.
I think this is just redneck part of me that says you can't do that.
And so you're like, watch me.
So it drives me to say, yeah, exactly that.
So what goal have you reached in CrossFit? Because I know you set goals. Like what's one goal in CrossFit that you have obtained that you were like, I did that?
Well, I lifted weights for a long, long time. So to transition to this, and I thought I was in great shape. So I started CrossFit being pressured by the coach of CrossFit to do that. Because it looked grueling.
Yes.
But when I started back there, I found out what kind of awful shape that I was in. I was really not in shape. So I ended up losing 20 pounds and getting in the best shape of my life, and just the strength, sleep better, and have more energy and those kind of things. I thought this is more important to me than t-shirt muscles. This right here is actually giving me some longevity and able to do things that I want to do, both at home in my life and also in ministry.
Yeah.
So.
And you've met a whole community of people through CrossFit that now attend the church and vice versa. And you've gotten people at the church into CrossFit but not me. You're not getting me.
I don't blame you.
Even if it's your favorite thing, I'm never doing CrossFit.
Yeah, the community of CrossFit is what makes it too. It's a suffering with
Andrea,
people.
does she still do it?
Oh, she sure does.
She's really good at it too, though, right?
She loves it more than I do.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
So that would be one of her favorite things is CrossFit.
Oh, absolutely. She makes us go sometimes when I want to skip.
See, I just can't go there with you. I don't know. My little treadmill in my garage instead of my CrossFitting.
Terribly competitive is what that means.
Okay. Well, even though you didn't have a favorite thing, that CrossFit we'll put that where it needs to be.
All right.
In our life. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Steve, for serving the Bay Minette community with such integrity and such love and just pastoring that community so well. You do a great job. And thank you for stewarding what God is doing in that community and just being the hands and feet of Jesus there. Thanks for loving where you live and loving Bay Minette and being a part of Coastal Church.
Truly my pleasure.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's Coastal Conversations podcast. All of today's references will be found in the show notes. Also, if you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you at Coastal this Sunday as we pick the conversation up from here.